The rural society was created in the 1920s and 1930s in Germany. The leading rural mediums were Maria Orsic, Sigrun, Traute, and Heike. The rural emblem has the following meaning. Left, the black side, represents the present dark age of lies and deception. An evil cabal rules over this world and creates war after war. In the middle we see the lightning strike of divine intervention and Judgment Day. The right side in purple represents the new golden age. This age will be an age of peace, freedom, and enlightenment. This time I would like to make a video about, society. Is society evil? It's the question that came up today by reading this book actually. Darkness in the Name of the Cross, Stan Wolf, or Gems of Dominion by Stan Wolf. It's a pretty good book series on time travel at the mountain of the Untersberg in Germany. And it depicts in detail on how he actually met Dr. Hans Kammler, General Hans Kammler at Untersberg, and that Hans Kammler built before the end of the war a station at Untersberg, inside Untersberg, where due to the time dilation, time flows 300 times more slower than outside. So 1 hour at the station equals to 300 hours outside. And for Kammler and his staff, only 3 months practically passed by. It's really interesting actually. I suggest anybody who wants a good read on science fiction, Third Reich stuff, because the author says himself that he mixed fiction with reality to make it more acceptable. It's incredible what he has to write. Sometimes I really think he's taking the edge off, goes in the extreme. But it's a good book on time travel, on the Imperial Germans on the Hollow Earth. And that the Imperial Germans mastered time travel before the end of the war and evacuated thousands of people through time portals into the past. It's incredible. I believe that time travel is possible, but I don't know, I still have difficulties accepting this as a possibility because it goes so way, so it's so extreme. It's you have to take time to adapt the mind to that possibility. The Montauk Project and Al Bielek as an example, also on time travel. It's also another episode independently written from a person in America, New York, over the so-called experiments in time that the US shadow government did in the early 90s. I think it goes back into the 60s, into the Americans took much of the technology of the Third Reich and possibly even captured the Glocke, or the bell actually, the SS bell that the Imperial Germans used for their experiments in anti-gravity and time dilation and time travel. Operation Kronos and Laternenträger, just to name a few. It's really well written, the book. It goes under the name of Gems of Dominion by Stan Wolf in English. Just see it as a science fiction story. I for one see it as partially partial truth and partial science fiction, although I accept the existence of the Imperial Germans on the Hollow Earth. I can also see that time travel is possible, but it's difficult to see that there are apparently colonies in the past or in the distant past of the Imperial Germans. It's just difficult to see, you know. And I wanted to talk about, again, there's the book, and it made me think about, is society evil? If you analyze society from TV, you think it's normal, it's okay, but if you know the truth on the pedophilia networks, on the child trade networks, on the illegal slave trade networks of Western women in Eastern European women, the Eastern European slave trade, Viktor Malarek The Natashas, just Google it. If you know the truth on this horrific system that is actually existing as we speak, where we have to work 40 or plus hours a week for a minimum wage that we cannot even sustain a family with, it demotivates you. If you have a job, you should be happy, but then you have to do a shift at the factories from 12 to 8 o'clock in the morning, and it's all part of the job, and you have to do this because the society demands it. Yeah, and at the same time in Rotterdam in England and in all other Western European states, children disappear, and in Rotterdam, children are exploited and sold in the sex trade. Yeah, we're brainwashed with propagandistic multiculturalist propaganda from the Jewish Zionist TV, and they tell you then, be happy that you have a job. Yeah, there are 30% or 20% people out of work in the Netherlands. They only say like 7% or 8%, but you have to double that number. Yeah, they always try to minimize it. And in Germany alone, over 7 million people are out of work, and they will never find a job because the system is designed in such a fashion that you cannot give everybody a job. It's the central banking system with the money flow, in and outflow of money, and the debt that is generated by the in and outflow of money. Just watch my video, Alex, on the Federal Reserve to understand this. Yeah? They expand the money flow and contract the money flow, and in this they influence how the people invest and in the society and build up companies or have the possibility of building up companies. Yeah, they literally, the banks are sucking the wealth out of the people and giving it to the central bankers, Rothschilds, the Zionist Jews. It's incredible. Yeah, and is society evil then? If you look at the system where even the medicinal industry is destroying our people, yeah, with the transgenderism and all that sick stuff that they actually do to our people, and even feeding them with Ritalin and all these drugs that actually can damage them. Not all medicines are bad. Yeah. Some psychotropic drugs can be helpful at some times, because my mother's a child and youth psychiatrist and she's actually an alternative-based healer, but she saw that some of these children really needed a compensation in their brain because they were either hyperactive or had autism and all other diseases that spring up in the society. They are making us sick. So you could actually say that society is evil, but there are people in the system trying to make ends meet. These are people like you and me who are trying to work in the system, or who are surviving from day to day, hoping for a better future when they're out of a job. Yeah, people like my mother who work on every daily basis, they try to make it because they have to get the money in to support a family. Yeah, there are very many good people who just look the other way or don't want to see it because they are blinded by this evil that is around them. If you worked at the child and youth services in the Netherlands or in Germany, yeah, they're really actually in Germany they pull children out of their homes. They're stolen from these institutions, from the parents, and put in institutions where then they disappear. This is the hidden child trade that is going on. So this, if you know the truth, you know that it's sick, vile, horrific, dark. It's horrible, actually, the system, if you know the truth. But we are kept in a hypnotic state where this is apparently all normal. Yeah, people are trying their best to make ends meet, and most of the people in the system in our Western world are good-hearted people trying to make it, or are frustrated, or have been so frustrated by life that they're no longer enjoyable. Doesn't give you the right to be an asshole, of course, but people are scarred from their experiences in the system. Even the food industry is horrific. It creates negative energies and negative vibrations for the entire ether. The Third Reich had revolutionary laws. They protected the animals under the Third Reich animal rights laws. The animals had rights. Vivisection was forbidden in the Third Reich. Even the food industry had to make sure that the animals were kept well and happy, actually. It was not on mass production trying to make the most profit. It was on humanely treating the animals. But they don't tell you this at school. You have to research this on the web. Research the truth about the Third Reich and Adolf Hitler. So actually society, if you look at the people, society is not evil. Yeah, but if you look at the evil elements and even the collaborators who all help them, the Zionists, our elite, we are being ruled by Zionist Jews. Those are our rulers. You cannot even criticize them in society without being labeled anti-Semitic, although they're the ones that defined what is anti-Semitism. It has always come back because the people have awoken to the truth about them. It's not all Jews, but nevertheless it's the Jews. It's the Zionist Jews. So you could say, if you look at the surface, if you're blinded, not to the truth, you look at the surface and see that society is normal. It's being ruled by our elected officials, democracy rules, you're being brainwashed to believe that democracy is the best solution for mankind. I'm a monarchist. I believe the best man should be in power, the best man for the right job. In every part of society, there should be a natural hierarchy. And there should be practically a king and queen at the top, who are not told by the people what to do, but who know what is best for the people and rule in such a fashion that the people love them. The king and queen. And the queen was the most powerful woman in the Reich. What she said was practically what the king said. Of course, men were also men and took over important aspects of rulership and governance. But nevertheless, the women influenced the men because they were married to their queens. And these were women had a high status, really high status. Not one woman in this world had such a high status as a queen back then. The most intelligent and the most beautiful had to rule. That's why I'm a monarchist. I would love to have a king that watches over me, yeah. The Third Reich was a good example. Adolf Hitler was practically a king. And the Zionist prophecies, it is depicted that a king would rise in Germany, in the land of the Midnight Mountain. In the land of the Midnight Mountain. Yeah, and it was in the prophecy also stated that this awakening, or this Reich that would emerge, would only last 12 years. 6 in war, and 6 in peace and 6 in war. Every zodiac sign gave him a year. So the prophecies already depict the formation of the Third Reich, and if they really mastered antiquitics and time bending and time travel, then it is possible that they also had colonies in other times. For me, I believe that the Imperial Germans already made colonies on the moon, on the inner Earth, Agartha, and the Hollow Earth, and have bases on Mars as well. They are a type 2 stellar civilization, I believe, already. They mastered space flight and even time travel then, and it's incredible, yeah. But they cannot influence the timeline in such a fashion that we can change the future. That's not possible. That's what I learned about these books. That time travel is possible, but that you cannot change the past in such a fashion that you cannot make that trip back in time. You cannot create a paradox. It's impossible. So altering the past you can only make slight alterations to the past that do not change the mainstream flow of the reality, as reality is flowing through time, at a certain space, So you gotta see reality as a body going through time, and that you can influence slightly the path maybe of the body to a different future, but you cannot change the past and make yourself a king in 2000 years ago, or attain victory in World War II as an example, or stop the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. That's not possible. That's not possible. That's what time-traveling civilizations comprehend once they make this conclusion. I believe stellar civilizations like the Draco Empire, the Greys, and even the Nordic aliens all mastered time travel, or the Aryans from the Pleiades, from Semyaze, Billy Meyer and his contactee, and his contacts from the other world. They all told and all spoke of time travel. So I believe even the shadow government of the United States does time travel, and that there are even time travel wars for who has control over the timeline, can influence where reality is heading. I believe they make slight alterations to the timeline. It's just possible. You see it as a science fiction story. For me it's incredible. I believe it's possible, but seeing it and doing it with yourself and doing it on your own is a different thing, and then just thinking that it's possible, you know. The Hollow Earth as an example, I got the Imperial German maps of the Hollow Earth, you know, the SS from the, I made a video on that subject. I studied them in detail, and that is an evidence that I believe they're genuine and that they depict the Hollow Earth. So for me, the Hollow Earth is fact. But time travel, I still need that evidence. No, I still need to get accustomed to it. It's incredible first. I believe it's possible, but I can't believe that the Imperial Germans made colonies in the past. That's just too far. Anyhow, I hope you enjoyed this video. I wanted to make a video. The same you could apply to every body in this world. Is society evil? I believe society in general, the people are trying to make it. So most of the populace wants to do their work and do a good thing. But there's a minority that rules over us that use us as their cattle. They use our children, they use our women, yeah, they sacrifice them in bloody rituals. Just Google Jewish ritual sacrifice. They do it also satanistic rituals, yeah. It's all online, you have to Google it. They slaughter us like cattle. So is the church evil, is the question. I believe that there are many people who believe that the church is good and enter the church believing that they're doing a good thing. Pretty much as you enter the military to do the right thing. In the Netherlands or in Belgium or in the United States. Yeah? People are brainwashed to believe that they're doing the right thing, but they're not forced to do evil. So I can comprehend when there are evil elements within the church that control the church, pretty much as our society is controlled by the Zionists, also by Jews. So is the church. So it's also possible that they're doing sacrifices there at the Vatican, as the witnesses on YouTube portray. It's not all evil, all good. That's what I want to point out. There are many people in the church trying to do the right thing and never come in touch with these evil fuckers that do those things. It's just the same facade, surface, to keep us deceived and believing that everything's good. I believe in Judgment Day. I believe in the global turning. I believe in the Imperial Germans. Yeah? I believe in God. This all gives me strength and power. But I don't know how long or how far away the turning or Judgment Day is. I believe it's going to happen within the Third World War. It's just an insight, a feeling. I had visions about this Third World War. And it's according to various seers and prophecies would start in the time of July of some year. July, August, the Third World War. And then Judgment Day would be within that Third World War, 2 weeks after the beginning of the Third World War or something. That is within the Third World War, the Judgment Day, when the Imperial Germans appear and the third Sargon, or the Jesus Christ figure, appear on the scene. I wrote about this on my website. If you're interested in all of this stuff, just visit my website, www.imperialgermans.com. Many greetings from Apeldoorn, the Netherlands, and ciao!